Hi, welcome to the Abundant Mom Life session. My name is Katie, and I'm so glad that you're here because today I'm going to share with you 5 shifts that you can make to actually double your energy, live in rest and order, and enjoy your kids again. I'm so grateful that you've taken the time out to work on yourself as a mom, to shift your relationships with your kids for the better, because I really believe that healthy kids are going to change the world. So I'm a busy mom. I know you're a busy mom. Let's jump right in. This is for Christian moms who are feeling overwhelmed by tasks and talking. Oh my goodness, so much talking. Walking on eggshells around everyone's big feelings. Tired from too much responsibility. And whether you're living in total chaos and you feel like you can't take your kids anywhere and you don't really want to have anyone over, or you just have a few things you want to fine tune in order to be the happy mom you dreamed that you could be, you're in the right place. This is for you. So in our next 45 minutes, I'm going to share with you 5 key heart and mind shifts that you can make that will absolutely demonstrate to you how to wake up refreshed in a tidy home and enjoy a quiet morning before a busy day, even if you have littles who like to wake up and wake you up before the sun. How to radiate love and assurance toward your kids and become their closest and most trusted ally without having escaped on vacation first to refill your love tank. How to unlock a team spirit in your family where kids take pride in their contributions and assume responsibility. Even if right now your kids with the most potential, I'm looking at you big kids, are dragging their feet and rolling their eyes at every request. How to get out the door as a whole family in an orderly fashion, on time, without running around like a chicken with your head cut off, barking commands at everybody, or carrying everyone or anyone else's shoes. How to enjoy honest, relaxed, even sometimes hilarious connection with your kids, where you get to be yourself, even if you're afraid you've already blown it by reacting with harsh words or consequences, maybe even for years. How to make happy vacation memories without the arguing, strife, and words you wish you could take back haunting you when you remember the fun times that you had together. How to reconnect to your faith, eradicating guilt and shame for good. Renewing your energy and enthusiasm, even if you're still going to make some big mistakes. How to enjoy internal peace and confidence, staying cool as a cucumber and decisive, even when your kids are boiling over, being super disrespectful, or pushing you again and again and again to get what they want. It's my personal promise to you that if you apply these shifts that we talk about today, it will result in more order, more energy, and more confidence in your life as a mom. So why don't you take a second to grab a pen, paper, journal, whatever you need to get the most out of this. Maybe take some notes on your phone, shut those notifications off. This is going to fly, and it's going to be packed with nuggets that you can use to change things for you and your kids for good. So first, I'm interested to know if any of this sounds like you. Maybe you wake up in the morning already feeling defeated, knowing that you're 10 steps behind. You want to wake up feeling grateful, but you're pummeled by the hamster wheel of stuff that comes with being mom, and you don't know how to get off that wheel. Do you catch yourself wanting to scream, or let's get real? Sometimes I picture hurting somebody because you're carrying most or all of the workload around the house and your kids don't seem to appreciate it, pause, or care enough at all to consistently pitch in. Maybe you've been walking on eggshells around everyone's big feelings, saying yes to things you actually want to say no to just to avoid a conflict or a meltdown or an argument, or to avoid making some big long speech that you don't want to make. Are you sometimes hit with panic when you look at baby photos or pictures of adventures you went on as a family? Maybe those are laced with haunting memories of yelling at everyone or sleeping in every day because you were so exhausted now that you're finally on vacation. And when you look back, you realize you just weren't present. It's all flying by so fast, and you know you're not enjoying life with littles like you want to. Are you regularly using screens to babysit your kids because you just cannot trust them to follow the rules or get anything done without you in the room to enforce it? I know you don't want to use Netflix like that, but you don't see another way. That was absolutely me. Do you secretly dread little ones getting out of bed in the morning and up from nap because you feel like you're drowning in needs and wants and you just need a quiet minute to yourself? Maybe you've tried gentle or attachment parenting, but without great boundaries, behavior issues persist until you're boiling over again, saying and doing things you feel terrible about because you don't know what else to do and you just can't take it anymore. You might hate that you say yes when you want to say no to things like more screens or sugary snacks just to keep the peace, and no to what you want to say yes to, like playful, relaxed connection, nature outings, or snuggling and reading, doing watercolors, but you just don't have it in you. There's too many messes, your brain is too full, and you're so tired. Do you feel awful admitting that you feel bored, uninspired, totally underappreciated, frustrated, and downright disappointed with what motherhood actually is compared to what you dreamed it could be? You know Jesus promised abundant life for you, and you feel so guilty admitting this is not it. Or maybe you're happy enough meeting everyone else's needs all the time, but you know that you've lost yourself, and you're just waiting till the kids are all grown up to do you again. And overall, deep down, are you afraid you are just not capable of being the mother your children need you to be? All of that was a fantastic description of my first 6 years of as a mom. And if any of those sound like you, I have some really, really good news. Super good news. None of that are the real problems. Those are not the real issues. The real problem is that you haven't made these heart and mind shifts. And that's absolutely okay because here you are, and now you can. So before we dive into them, I want to tell you what you can expect after you've made the shifts. You can be yourself, enjoy your kids, and you can lead them well. And here's what it's going to look like once you make them. First, you're going to get some much needed rest and quiet. Can I get an amen? This alone is enough to motivate me to do the work. Your shoulders will drop as you release the weight of feelings, tasks, and guilt that do not belong to you. You'll have time and space to be intentional about your plans, routines, and outings with your kids. You will be confident and proud of the things you say yes to and the things you say no to. Other moms are going to wonder how you're doing it because your kids are actually going to listen. The workload at home will suddenly be much lighter, and chores will become an opportunity for connection and not conflict. You'll get to enjoy relationships with your kids where you both get to be yourselves, laughing together as you rest into your trust-filled connection. You'll be astounded by the things that your kids start to tell you. What they think about and the stuff they're working through is going to blow your mind because suddenly they're going to want you involved. You'll be full of energy, passion, and joy, knowing that you do have what it takes to raise your kids to be the best versions of themselves. This describes the life that I live now with my kids. I never could have dreamed it would be this good, and I live this way every day. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about who I am. So for the first 6 years of my mothering journey, I fully believed I was a mistake mom. I thought that two cells came together in my belly and I shouldn't have let them because I didn't have what it takes. I didn't feel confident that I could manage my feelings, my kids' feelings, all the housework. I thought they'd be better off with someone else. So I knew God made me for more, so I dug in and studied the best brain science and relationship experts in the industry, and then I tried out all this stuff on my own kids. I learned the truths that I'm sharing with you today while I walked my own kids through their early childhood trauma. Now I'm mom to 3 incredible warrior kids who have walked through some major wounds and into thriving. Our relationships totally rock. So just this last Saturday morning, my 8-year-old daughter came into my room and said, "Mom, I think you should have more rest today. I'd like to make everybody breakfast." And my wheels were turning. Like, I'm wondering what she has planned here. Like, if we're going to wind up eating some sugary treat meal. So I asked her, "Hey, that's so sweet. What would you like to make?" And she said, "Egg burritos." She took special orders for the whole family and made the best scrambled eggs burritos that we've had in a really long time. These are my kids. This is real life. So fast forward a number of years, I became temporary guardian to 2 kiddos who had heaps of their own trauma in their history. And using the same principles I'm sharing with you today, I became the only adult they ever felt safe enough to tell about some horrific abuse they were experiencing. I had the privilege and the honor of walking them out to freedom and seeing justice in their lives. I'm telling you, this stuff works in the worst, most horrendous circumstances. So now I run workshops, walking women through recovery from codependency, teaching and coaching alongside CJ Walters, who personally held my hand day by day through my own transformation from mistake mom to thriving as mom coach. We together bring women down that same path from feeling inadequate as a mom to being deeply in touch with their calling and their purpose so they can finally let their guard down and actually enjoy their kids. I am not more passionate about anything else in my life right now. I was not raised in a family with the healthy boundaries or the joy or the connection or the laughter that I really wanted for myself and my kids, but I was given the gift of rock bottom in my own mothering, and it gave me the courage and honesty to face reality and change for my children and their children. Listen, I got the breakthrough, and I'm bringing everyone with me who wants in. So now I'm going to tell you what these 5 shifts are. I'm telling you, if you apply these principles to your life wholeheartedly, you can absolutely do this. You can have more rest, more order, happy connections with these kids. But you do need to make these 5 shifts. They will take you from overwhelmed and exhausted to energized and in order. Moms who operate this way have kids who are self-directed and responsible. They're fun to be with, and they have a deep respect for their connection with their mom. It is night and day, absolutely beautiful. So here we go. The first shift: accept the call. God himself picked you. Listen, someone in your life with your kids has to make the decisions. Someone has to have the authority. Avoiding this role is to allow your kids to run your life, because I know lots of little people and they would rather make the decisions. But that leaves both them and you feeling out of control and insecure, and it leaves the outcome of every day up to chance. Your relationship with your kids will have the greatest impact on them, for better or for worse. And God chose you for this job. He has chosen, appointed, anointed, and equipped you specifically to raise your unique kids into the change agents that our culture is desperately crying out for. I heard Mel Robbins say this once. Maybe you've heard her speech where she says, "No one else is coming." And this is something I have had to face head on. I'm it for my kids. God hasn't ever reached his hand out of the sky to raise them for me. No, he called me and I'm it. So here's the deal. Parents are just leaders. They've been trusted with the most vulnerable and innocent followers on the planet. And great parents are just great leaders. And the deal with leadership is it doesn't ever happen by accident. And great leaders do a handful of things. They go first and set an example, and then they protect and support their followers, and they understand the weight of the responsibility that other people are modeling their lives after them. This is who you are for your kids. Without assertively taking your life in a new direction, you're going to pass down the package of emotional and relational patterns that you were handed as a child. To do the next 4 shifts and to change the course of history for your family for generations to come, that's going to be an uphill battle. This is swimming upstream. You're going to need decisiveness, intentionality, and grit to do this work. And I know that you have it, or you wouldn't be here. Passively hoping that it all shakes out is not an option if you want to raise tomorrow's leaders and not just cultural followers. All right, so I discovered this tool a little while ago on the road as a mom called the Descendants Calculator. And you can go Google this. You type it in just like it's written there. And what it does is it has you type in a number of generations you want to calculate out, the number of years average per generation and the number of kids average per family in those generations. So I played with it this morning. I put in, let's look out 10 generations. Let's say the generations begin every 20 years. And let's say the average family has 5 kids. The number of people who come from my own belly, if that's the numbers, that's how it goes. Are you ready for this number? Is 12,207,030 direct descendants. So this work that I'm doing in my home with my kids is not just for me and my kids. This is for millions of people who are going to come after me, who are directly affected by the changes that I make in my family of emotional and relational patterns. This is literally leading hundreds and thousands of people just by living day-to-day life in a healthy way in my own house. Now, that is a weighty call. And that could be something that makes us buckle under the pressure. Or we could take that call and have the humility and the passion that is needed to make a change for our kids. So there's these studies that have been done on kids who are abused, abandoned, orphaned, neglected, assaulted. Like when one of them becomes successful, they have found that the common denominator for every kid who makes it out of a situation like that goes on to have a happy family, goes on to have a career, goes on to make something out of their lives. The one common denominator is that one adult committed to consistently showing up, believing in their potential, and investing in who that kid became. One adult, that's all it takes. I remember when my oldest was about 3 years old, he was having these crazy nightmares every night. And then he was having massive meltdowns every day, like these huge, huge torrential tantrums. I would look in his eyes and I couldn't see him. Have you ever felt like that? I looked in his eyes and I was like, where's my kid? Like, we have lost our connection. I knew that he was lost. I knew that I felt completely lost as his mom, and I did not know what to do. So it's just getting by day to day. And one day I cried out to God. I just begged God, like, show me what to do. What is going on here, and how can I save my son? Like, please save my son. And I felt like the Lord impressed this on me. He said, if this kid had been through some horrendous trauma and then pulled up out of his family and put into a healthy adopted home, a wonderful, loving family where he was adopted, do you think he could be restored? Do you think he could be redeemed and go on to have an amazing life? And I was like, yeah, of course. I've seen that over and over again, hear those stories all the time. I felt like God said this to me. Okay, then adopt your son. Be that parent to him. So that's how I wound up going this direction in my life and discovering these things. You can be the one adult for your kids that changes everything. So the bottom line is that everything else we go over today about how to become the mom you want to be and enjoy your kids and relax enough to be yourself and raise awesome contributors is built on this one foundation. You must stand up as the authority in your child's life. All right, the second shift is operate like a queen. I love this one. So your life as a queen in your home is going to do 3 really important things. The first thing that it does is it models intentionality and responsibility in a way that you're hoping your kids are going to live. So you're going to model the intentionality, responsibility that you want them to adopt for themselves. Second, it gives them a training ground. That training ground is their relationship with you for how to treat other people. Kids don't grow up like treating their mom one way and then treating everybody else a better way. You're it. Third, operating as a queen in your home cultivates a deep trust with your kids because you're going to do the things that you say that you're going to do. A queen doesn't negotiate or argue with other people. She doesn't whine or complain or throw a fit when she isn't heard or seen. Instead, she gracefully commands respect with dignity and poise. So operating like a queen means that you're going to control yourself with excellence. You're going to know your own personal values very well, and you're going to stick to them. So you're going to know where you start and where you end. You're going to take great care of the things that matter most to you, both inside of you and around you. Not going to budge on those for any of your own feelings or anyone else's feelings. The truth about operating like a queen is this: you can't control anyone but yourself. So if you are exhausted or anxious, it's because you're trying to do something impossible, which is to get other people to do stuff. Now, I know some of you just ran through this really crazy picture of your kids in your head if you decided to not control them anymore. Like, I'm picturing a toddler in a diaper on the kitchen counter with chocolate sauce all up in his hair and mud on his face, and his foot, his little cute toesies are sticking right next to the flame on the gas stove. And the middle child is cooking some secret recipe because she's thrilled she finally has access to the kitchen and all of its resources. And I know this sounds really scary, but it doesn't change the fact that you actually cannot control anybody but yourself. You determine the outcomes of your own choices, and your kids determine the outcomes of their choices. So to operate like a queen means that it's no longer up to anybody else whether you're going to have a great night's sleep, or whether you're going to be happy in your life, or whether your home is going to be a home that runs with order. Those are going to hinge on you, and you're going to support your kids to determine the outcomes of their own choices. Even the best parenting methodologies, when they're used to get control of people, they just teach our kids to be master manipulators or to be manipulated. So operating like a queen means that you're going to protect your child's free will from your own desire to control them. I know this is super challenging, but I also know that it's absolutely possible. I want you to think about the people that you trust and look up to most in your own life. Those are probably people who believe in you with a great deal of confidence. Operating like a queen means that you have incredibly high standards for yourself and that you enforce those standards for you. Self-control is the governing force behind all godly authority. People who we look up to and want to follow know what they're going to do, and they do what they say they're going to do. They are great leaders of themselves. I want to introduce you to a woman that I met named Layla. She came to us chasing her 2 little kids around the church lobby after the church service because they had been kicked out of Sunday school again. She was distraught. I could tell she was embarrassed. She was super frustrated, and she hated the fact that she had no control over her children. So we worked on shift 2 with her. We taught her about operating like a queen, gave her some communication tools to use with her kids, and helped her develop some standards for her own behavior and her own personal values. Within a couple weeks, she reported that the tools that she learned were, quote, working so well already. And she chose a favorite go-to phrase that empowered her kids' choices. And then a few weeks later, I got a text that said this: the kiddos even seemed to express appreciation for the order and more love towards me. It's been beautiful. Guys, the kids who said that to her were 4 and 5 years old. That's little. It impacted them immediately, and it stuck. And they were already aware of it enough to say it to their mom. Now Layla spends her weekends going on awesome outings with her kids, enjoying relaxed time with them because they look up to her and they listen. It's so amazing. The next shift that you're going to need to make all of this work is you're going to need to use the secret weapon. And this is a tool that we use to dismantle the triggers that generally derail us. So these things come up in our mom life. There's a lie screaming in my head. There's a feeling that's raging at me. And that has been the thing that has taken me off course in other things I've tried to improve my life as a parent. So instead of shrinking our lives to avoid those things, we're actually going to use them as a roadmap for wholeness. So it's right behind those lies and those big emotions that actually, that's where the greatest breakthrough lies. So we're going to dismantle those easily pushed buttons. You're going to watch as love and calm flood your life through those gateways that we've been hiding from. And you're going to enjoy an organized, restful, and relaxed home. So here's the thing. The way that you're parenting probably has mostly to do with the way that you were raised. Our parents grew up in homes where a handful of tactics were used, and without thinking too hard about it or stopping everything and swimming upstream, our parents generally just handed us the same stuff that they were handed, and so on and so forth. So I know in my life and in most of the parenting lives that I've observed, here's some of the stuff that we've been trying in the old way of doing things. Many of us just resort to yelling, either when we're in a hurry or we've had enough or we need a result right now, or maybe all the time. If I can get loud enough, I think it'll get my kids' attention and hopefully they're going to do what I want. Nagging. Oh man, I know for years I played the role of the family reminder, constantly requesting as politely as possible for something to happen. Again, because it's not done yet. Maybe one of your tools is to bribe your kids to do stuff with screens or sugar or a promise of an awesome outing or a trip to the Dollar Tree. And then the pressure's really on. It's on them to make it happen, and it's on you to follow through. I found with my kids, though, the anxiety that they experienced on a good bribe was just as intense as the anxiety produced by a threat or a competition. Some kids do better with that than others. I know that I created and tried and saw ads for and almost ordered on Amazon countless complicated chore charts to try to build some kind of routine or program into my kids' lives. But there's nothing wrong with any of that. But in an environment that's not working, those just were like an added stress. It was just more to manage. Making threats that you may or may not be actually willing to follow through with is another hot one. It does cause a great deal of anxiety in kids. And I know for me, oftentimes it meant lying and breaking my kids' trust. Maybe you could try taking stuff away, forcing kids to miss out on special privileges. But the deal here with punishments is that you've done something wrong and now there needs to be justice, and it feels awful for everybody. And usually no one really learns anything either. Here's my personal favorite. I loved to make big, smart, compelling speeches about why this matters to me, leaving my kids feeling super guilty that they don't love me better or more. Oh, so nasty. That was my go-to. Or the latest parenting trend, talking super sweetly to our kids to avoid them feeling guilty or ashamed for having a feeling or a want or a need, which is absolutely wonderful until it's not. If there's not great boundaries to back this up, it just becomes a roller coaster of super sweet mom to screaming mom. So here's the thing. These are all ways of compelling kids to do stuff from the outside in. It's exhausting, it breaks connection, and you can't count on it because it doesn't always work. And if it does work, temporarily you get some peace. But in the long run, you don't earn the trust and openness of your kids, and it doesn't make you a leader they want to follow. Instead, they learn to perform for fear of punishment or for emotional kudos. You're teaching them to be driven from the outside in, instead of supporting their God-given design, which is to be driven from the inside out. This produces patterns in our kids' emotional and relational setup for life. This is how I grew up, and I became an adult who was a codependent people pleaser. These kids, as adults, become people pleasers who don't notice being manipulated by others, or they perform and emotionally enslave themselves for their sense of worth, and never come to terms with their own desires and lead their own lives. Or they become master manipulators who learn to coerce others in order to get what they want, or some mixture of both. Without major intervention, this is where this is headed. None of those patterns produce adults who are capable of healthy connection, intimacy, or the joy of living in their true God-given identity. So all these things actually teach kids to be driven from the outside in. And happy families and successful adults are made from kids who are driven from the inside out. So I'm wondering if you're ready for something new. When I took an honest look at these outside in methods and realized what that was going to mean for my kids' development and their lives as adults, their choices of spouse later, and how they would run their own homes with their children, I couldn't do it anymore with any kind of integrity. So I want to introduce you to a new way. This is the way that I've discovered that moms who enjoy their kids and raise responsible, healthy adults, this is the way they're doing it. And it's really far simpler. You're going to manage yourself really well. These moms manage themselves with excellence. They're clear on their values and they don't budge. They know what they're going to do. They say what they're going to do and they do it. And their kids manage themselves. These kids in these families are clear on the fact that their choices have outcomes because their moms have empowered their free will and not intervened on their facing the outcomes of their choices. Outcomes that go well for them. And I know it hurts, but also the outcomes that don't go well for them. These moms also use being triggered as an opportunity to grow. They turn those triggers inside out and expand the love of God for their family, letting it flood absolutely everything. This is a recipe for self-directed kids who are absolutely a blast to be with. These kids are directed from the inside out. These moms are enjoying their children and they're blown away by what their kids are bringing to the table. These families run like a joy-filled team. The possibilities for their direction as a family, the way they want to take their lives, and the experiences that they get to have together are totally limitless. The ceiling is off. So I'll tell you a little bit more about the secret weapon we use. We call it the Peace Protection Protocol. And I'll just give you a simple breakdown. This is all you need to do to turn those triggers into a place where love can come into your life as a family. First thing is to notice when your heart rate or your tone of voice rises, or maybe just you feel like you know you're about to do or say something you don't mean, or just something that you don't want to do. You're going to put yourself in a timeout. This is like modeling great self-care for kids. Stick yourself in a timeout. In that timeout, you're going to exchange the pain or the confusion or the chaos or the lie for the truth about who you are and how loved you are by God and how much grace and power He has available to you. Then, when you're ready, you're going to go back out there and respond to your kids with love and leadership. So you're no longer reacting. You know what you expect from them. You know what they can expect from you. And you guys are going to go forward with your day. And if necessary, you're just going to walk them through the Peace Protection Protocol. Take them through exactly the process that you just went through if someone's still boiling over and melting down. So I want to introduce you to another woman we saw experience radical change in her life. Her name is Michelle, and her daughter was violent, verbally abusive, extremely manipulative, and out of control. She was actually scared of her own daughter, and she was constantly pummeled by the thought that maybe she wasn't capable of getting her daughter through to safety in adulthood. She didn't have high hopes for anything else. She wasn't even sure her daughter was going to make it, like survive. So she reached out for help. And when we got to the Peace Protection Protocol and just started working on those triggers, she, like night and day, wasn't walking on eggshells anymore. She found joy in her job again, and she was completely released from the weight and fears of outcomes that she couldn't control with her daughter. So she let it go. All that fear, all those high running emotions were replaced with confidence and love. So fast forward 4 years. Her daughter is self-sufficient, has a super close and open relationship with Michelle, and she consistently seeks and takes her mom's advice on things, big and small. They enjoy a lighthearted connection between two people who are emotionally and physically responsible, each for themselves. So they now have an adult friendship that is absolutely thriving. The fourth shift is like the glue that holds all of this together. There's really not a whole lot that you can do with the first 3 shifts if you don't do this one, which is that you're going to get plugged into and stay connected to limitless love. You must access limitless love. God is not waiting for you to get it together. He is not bailing on you when you do it wrong. He's not present for your good performance and then absent when you slip up. He is love. He's patient, he's kind, he's truthful, he's powerful, he's honest, and he's for you. He works everything for your good. So it may be that you need to shed some lies that your Christian culture has taught you about needing to perform, or maybe things you learned in the home that you grew up in, that God really is only with you if you do it all right all the time. He's not manipulating you to get a result. He's not frustrated that you're not better at what you do. He's not frustrated that you're not different than who you are or that you're taking a long time to get it. He's ever present. He's always with you. He's filled with compassion toward you, and he is on your team. He's highly invested in who you are and who your children are. And he's already paid for every mistake, intentional and unintentional. Every mistake. That's what Jesus was. Jesus was the payment for the fact that you're not perfect. He never expected you to be perfect. He only asks you to be loved. So you can be done with shame, guilt, and fear forever. I'm not kidding. My life is radically different now that I understand all that shame, all that guilt, all that fear is why he came for me. His resource is unlimited, and he has intentionally aimed it personally at you. Accessing his love for you will change everything. It will flood you with limitless love, guidance, power, and creativity. He is love, and he made you in his image. And when you continually receive this, you can allow love to flow through you in limitlessness. Mistakes and pain, those become a pathway to learn and grow, not more evidence that you're a failure. So when you see it this way, that you are a loved child of God who is being returned to the image he originally made you in, his image, and he is love, then the mistakes aren't stacking up anymore, like convincing you that you're the wrong person for the job. Instead, they become opportunities for you to be loved. Pick yourself back up and start stacking up success. So then we begin to see that we're exactly the right moms for our kids as they draw God's love from us. We build self-confidence when we're rightly connected to God's unlimited love. And we no longer remember the self-deprecating talk we used to listen to in our heads while navigating laundry piles and crying toddlers. Your mom life becomes this beautiful place where everyone is growing and you're doing it together. So I want to tell you about my friend Julia. So Julia came to us with kids who had been through a ton of turmoil through a nasty Christian divorce. Her kids were melting down easily, and she was seriously on edge. They needed a lot of extra time from her. They had a hard time doing daily tasks. They wanted to talk through big feelings or shut down and behave like little punks. They wanted her close always, and on top of doing all the practicals a suddenly single mom has to handle. She felt so guilty about what they had been through. She was run completely ragged by their seemingly never-ending needs. Can anybody relate? She was exhausted, and she wasn't doing much at all to care for her own heart, mind, or body. She really did believe that she would never be enough for them. But when she started listening to love, and she quit listening to the constant guilt pounding in her head about her divorce and what it had done to her kids, started listening to God's compassion and understanding toward her on purpose, everything changed. So she started to take great care of herself. She heard her kids saying what they needed instead of what she thought they needed based on her own story and her own pain. She learned to fill her own tank, and they did too, just by watching. Now her kids have developed healthy coping skills that they initiate on their own. Like they get out their MP3 players and listen to positive music. They go run around outside, and they do their own art projects from start to finish. Get this, including cleaning up after themselves. 6 months later, after watching their mom start her own business, her kids actually joined a global online entrepreneur school to learn how to pursue their own passions. And they run their school day almost on their own while she dives into the work that she loves. Their home is run smoothly because each kid cares about their contributions, and they see themselves as valuable kids who Jesus loves and as contributors and part of managing their lives in the home together. This is so, so beautiful. This is a single mom. So the last shift, this is shift number 5, and like all the other shifts, it is absolutely necessary if you're going to make this happen. This shift is to invest in mentoring. So on my own parenting journey, I learned all of the first 4 shifts. I studied all the brain science. I learned from all the teachers on relationships. It was my absolute obsession. I went through all the inner healing workshops and I tried all the stuff out on my own kids. But I really wasn't able to manage or maintain this breakthrough at all until I found a mentor who could hold my hand through every step. That's when I actually got the steps on a heart level. So that took me being really consistent and really, really blatantly honest, very transparent with someone day to day to break down for her, here's what's going on. How do I find out what's his, what's mine? What can I do to help? And what should I not be doing as a recovering codependent? This is where every lasting change begins, is at that heart level. So now my life with my kids is flooded with love and light and energy because I made it a point to follow a loving guide who knew the way. Look, this journey is a transformation from the inside out. This is the inner work of a lifetime. I'm not going to lie to you. This is so challenging and it can be a very emotional road. It's no joke. So you're going to be healing wounds and changing mindsets that have been ingrained into your mind from the time you were born. There's generations behind you who have been doing things in a similar relational way, and uprooting that and planting new seeds and living a new life is a massive undertaking. So here's the other thing. All the ideas you have about what you're doing and how to do it dwell inside your own mind. And you can't have objective perspective without outside help. You need someone who can see it from outside your head. When you invest in mentoring, you cut the confusion and potential for quitting by getting the guidance you need. I don't know about you, but I tried over and over to overhaul my parenting life, and I would just wind up quitting because it was overwhelming. It was just too much. Listen, you're breaking generational cycles that were handed to you as a child. This is such critical work, and it is real work. Your children and their children and their children, they need this from you. They need you to find the best mentor you can and invest whatever it takes to work with them. So listen, today I promised you that I would tell you how to wake up refreshed in a tidy home and have a quiet morning. I promised that I would tell you how to radiate love and assurance towards your kids and become their closest ally. How to unlock a team spirit in your family, bring in the best out of your kids, where they bring their creative solutions and ideas and hard work to the table, even if they are currently not those kind of people. I promised I'd tell you how to get out the door as a family in an orderly fashion without scrambling around, barking commands, or carrying all the people's stuff. How to enjoy honest, relaxed connection with them where you get to be yourself. How to make happy vacation memories where the memories are not laced with your mistakes and your blowing up or boiling over. How to reconnect to your faith, getting rid of guilt and shame for good, renewing your energy, even if you sometimes still make big mistakes. Look, no one is perfect. I still blow it with my kids, but the core of our life together is so peaceful and so beautiful. And how to enjoy internal calm, peace, and confidence, staying collected and decisive, even if your kids are freaking out. And here's what you need. Accept the call. Operate like a queen. Use the peace protection protocol. Access limitless love. And invest in mentoring. And I promise you will find yourself on a journey for the rest of your life as a family in more abundance, joy, and hope than you ever thought possible. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about why we're doing this. After years of research and trial and error, I finally got the redemption that my kids desperately needed from the inside out in my heart. God has put his hand on me to break generational chains and to see you through to a massive deliverance that lasts for generations to come. I'm here to equip you to be the cycle breaker in your family line. I've surrendered my gifts for his kingdom, and it is my 100% passion to see moms who are tangled up and drowning live in the overflowing, joyful, and passionate life that is actually available to you right now, knowing that it's going to change the whole world through your children and your children's children by representing who God really is. We knew that after watching this, you might want our help to treasure these years with your kids, to live in the confidence that you are exactly the right mom for them, and to be equipped to send them into the world with a rock solid sense of who they are and an open, honest connection with you. We're going to equip you to live God's love in your family and not just talk about it. Now, here comes the exciting part. If you've got this far in this video and you are resonating with what you've heard today, I want to tell you about what we're doing and give you an opportunity to learn more. Brave Moms is a 12-week intensive discipleship program. Inside the intensive, there are 8 modules of content that peel back unhealthy layers of relating one layer at a time and then rebuild healthy communication, emotional regulation, and disciplinary skills for yourself as a parent and communication skills for yourself as a wife. We meet twice a week over Zoom to chat about how to apply the content and get deeper healing concerning what's undermining healthy discipline in your home. We have small group support all week long, including our team of experts every week. Many of our moms become interns and then they press this mission forward. Listen, we have 6 spots available this month. We are financially very flexible, and I'm excited to tell you how that works. However, there are high standards for joining this community. We protect and maintain a 100% transformation rate because we only accept women who are truly ready into the program. We are looking for coachable, dedicated moms who are truly ready for a change. This transformation is simple, but it is not easy. It is going to challenge you emotionally and mentally as we press into the truths of Jesus, surrender everything at his feet, and become the moms he has called us each to be. If you're ready to put your transformation as a mom at number 1 priority for a season, we want you to apply now. If you've tried everything else and you're prepared to show up with an empty cup and take action based on the biblical truths that you're learning, even if it's scary, then we want you to apply right now. If you're willing to be honest about where you're really at and you're not willing to stay there a day longer, we want you to apply right now. You can find our application in the link in the description below. We cannot wait to meet you. Once you send that application in, we're going to send you an opportunity to come and discover more about what Brave Moms is. You can come there and talk to us about how you got here. We'll have some questions for you, and we can answer all of the questions that you have for us. You'll meet like-minded moms who have watched this class and want to explore this opportunity just like you. And you'll meet some of the Brave Moms team who watch this transformation happen in the lives of over 30 women day in and day out. We have a limited number of spots in Brave Moms this month, and if this is you, please do fill out that application. We cannot wait to hear from you, and we look even more forward to meeting you in person. I'm so glad that you found our video, and we're just so prayerful, hopeful, and excited that you, just like so many moms who have come through this intensive, are about to have your life radically changed by the man Jesus Christ. Have an incredible day, evening, weekend, wherever you're headed. Get that application sent in. I cannot wait to meet you. You are a brave mom.